Hello, friends, and welcome to the show. This is the Marvel Knights finale, the end of our Marvel Knights series on our comic book discussion podcast, which after this episode will be referred to as Turn the Page. We hope you enjoy it. This is our cutout version. If you would like to see the live version, go to our live streams on twitch.tv/story_mode_official. And as always, we respect and value all the creative professionals that help make these comic books and all this content possible. Nothing displayed or discussed in this show is property of Story Mode Live Gaming. We are affiliated with no one. We're just a group of dedicated fans who are having a blast. So please support the official releases.
Here we go. It looks like we are live.
We are live.
Yes, we are. We are live.
What is up, everybody?
How is everybody doing tonight?
And in case you didn't know, this is Vinicio from Story Mode Gaming, or Story Mode Live Gaming, if you're a sucker for details. Uh, and we are doing our finale of our Marvel Knights discussion podcast series. Also, in this podcast, we will be revealing the actual title for this show. So if you've been watching it this whole time, I really appreciate you watching it without a title. I'm sure it's hard to talk to your friends about it, but those days are over.
I'm happy you finally named it.
That's right.
I really am. I was calling it the Story Mode Comic Cast anytime I put it up in the description or the title. But, yeah.
Yeah, I was having a lot of mind that would just say podcast episode this Marvel Knights Part 3. Like I said, those days are over. It's a new day.
Yes, they are. With Turn the Page.
Yes,
That's a good title, bro.
I thought so. I like it.
Uh, but speaking of Marvel Knights, before we get into the cast here, I saw it was announced that the Daredevil is going to be coming to the MCU. They haven't announced if it's going to be Charlie Cox, but I'm really hoping it is.
Yeah, me too. I know that D'Onofrio is like really pushing to play Kingpin again.
He did a great job.
Oh yeah, dude, he did an amazing
Like
job.
perfect Kingpin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that reminds me too. I was gonna tell you this yesterday. They
Oh, what?
they put out some news for the Hawkeye miniseries coming to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Uh, they've casted Kate Bishop. I don't know the actress's name. I don't remember, but they have also uh, talked about uh, Yelena Belova is going to be in that show as well, and they have announced that they're going to be bringing in Echo into the Hawkeye show somehow.
Well, backing up to Yelena Belova, are they going to have the same actress playing Yelena Belova from the Black Widow movie?
I'm assuming.
I would hope so.
I mean, it's both MCU, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, you would think it would stay the same.
Plus, with the release
Oh,
dates being so close to each other.
true. Something else coming up. Speaking about just Marvel stuff in general in the MCU, we have WandaVision launching in like what three-ish weeks?
Something like that.
I
Yeah, it's
forget the
coming up.
exact date. But I mean, that's going to be pretty exciting coming up. I'm excited to see what they do with the House of M and oh crap, WandaVision.
Yeah.
The I've watched the trailer. No kidding you, like at least 50 times.
Oh wow. I've seen it like two or three times.
Dude, there's just something about it. Like, it's a great trailer. On top of that, one, there's so much packed in there, and even if you watch it a few times, you can still kind of find something new in the background you didn't see before. Mostly for me, though, it's just with the music and what they're showing and how everything goes. It's going to be a good tragedy, man. Like, I know people like Shakespeare for tragedies, but this is going to be a good tragedy.
Right. Once again, we will be going over this is the finale of our Marvel Knights series. uh, the final installment. It's been a long road,
Fun road.
fraught with peril and good times. Uh, and much like everything else these days, some delays, but we are finishing it up. And then, if you want to check out any of the other parts, the edited versions with the visuals implemented are on our YouTube channel, Story Mode Live Gaming. Uh, those obvious bias, but I think those are pretty cool because you get to see a lot of the artwork and stuff. And next episode after this, we will be launching with the brand new title, Turn the Page, and also a brand new series to be announced later in the episode. So you're going to want to
Woo!
stick around for that.
Oh yeah, you gotta rope him in with it.
Yes. Much like Daredevil roped everyone into joining a ragtag team of Marvel Knights.
Well, actually, it was Moon Knight that kind of roped everybody into it.
Yeah. Well, don't look at me. He roped me into this.
All right, we got a bunch of exploders up here, so be watching out. I did take out a large chunk of them. Should be softened.
Boom.
I was kind of hoping we'd get to see more of like the crime fighting team aspect.
Yeah.
When Moon Knight got everybody in to like do it as a team.
Yes. There is also like a sequel series, or a sequel run, I guess, to the Marvel Knights. That it was like 2 years after the one we're currently doing, and I'm definitely intending on doing that one at some point. Uh,
Just not next.
just not next. There's some
Ooh,
stuff
so hey,
that I would like to do.
there you go, story mode chat. We ruled out one possibility.
Ooh, yes. Like it's gonna happen. That's for sure. I'm even willing to say that. Like it'll happen. It's just not happening next. I love how Black Widow can jump like 40 feet.
Oh yeah, dude, it's great. It is. I love it. That gives me high hopes for when we see Spider-Man come out.
Oh yeah.
I want to know who makes Joe Fixit's shoes. I want to know.
I know, right? And not just shoes, penny loafers. Like
Yes, and they
these
got
aren't boots or something. These are loafers.
the white and black intermixed there, so that's
Yeah.
fighting a shielded Adaptoid over here.
Charging
Oh,
my
shield's down.
attack.
Oh, you're already over here. Right before he fires the special beam cannon. Just let me know before you do it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna let you know. I think my favorite part of like that little era of Team Four Star is close beam. Because that is something among the Dragon Ball fandom that people have been talking about for, I mean, a couple decades now. Is like,
Yeah.
how did he just all of a sudden have the ability to like materialize clothes onto Gohan and then never again showed any type of ability like that? Like, so the
Well, you
Team
can't, you
Four Star
can't,
did it. They were like, clothes beam.
well, you can't have a grown man like run around with a naked little boy. That would just be
No, I
inappropriate.
get it. Good. I mean, it was a good call for sure. I mean, for sure. It was just an odd turn of events.
So you know me, Vinicio. I can't take this whole waiting thing. You gotta tell us. You gotta tell us what the next thing coming up
Right.
is.
All right.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's like I got to know.
You got no man. Like Jonesing, bro.
All in good time. Not trying to. I mean, not trying to like be super secretive about it, but I
Well,
don't want to just get caught
yeah,
up in having a whole big discussion about it before we
finish out the
do
Marvel
actually
Knights.
do today's episode. You know, because if you're a Marvel fan, won't you hear it?
You can't unhear it. Or
Apologize.
as they say in Futurama for the Tales of Interest, you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
Yes, that's one of my favorite episodes.
Stay tuned for the next Tales of Interest.
So the issues we're going over today, it's issues 13, 14, and 15 of the 2000 Marvel Knights run by Chuck Dixon and Ed Barreto. Definitely recommend the read. One thing that we've talked about this before with these issues, but it was kind of a cool thing with this run, is that the issues they do like these quick cuts back and forth between like different settings and different events going on. Like you'll have the Punisher doing one thing in one page, and you turn the page, and
Flops over to Black Widow and
right,
Dagger.
yeah, and so if we seem to be all over the place,
Oh my
it's only
God! Hit the thing.
it's only partly because of us.
The cutaways. I think they do a good job of kind of servicing to kind of keep up with all the different storylines coming from all the different heroes that are involved. Because I mean,
Oh yeah,
you'd lose the Punisher, the little tiny Punisher arc in there if it didn't keep flashing over to Castle.
yeah, for sure.
One of my more favorite things was how you pretty much every page you were getting something about a different group, like a little different pairing. You had Widow and Dagger with uh, Tyrone,
Yeah,
and then you flashed over to like Daredevil and Moon Knight.
yeah, I like it. I thought it was a pretty cool style.
It was very well put together, I will say. It kind of, I think we were not to skip ahead, but before we got going live and everything, we were kind of talking about how there's a lot of setup, little delivery.
Yes, a lot of stuff gets set up for the individual books of the heroes or for upcoming projects at the time. You see that a lot in Marvel actually. On a lot of the ongoing stuff. Like I know when Nocturnum and myself were doing the Black Panther Christopher Priest run from the '90s. Uh, it the end of it resolved a bunch of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but like at the end of it, it introduced a new character, the White Tiger,
Hmm.
and I think that was his name. Yeah, White Tiger, and
I'm not sure I know about him.
he's pretty cool.
I look forward to getting to see him in something in the future.
Yeah,
But that
basically,
that was something I didn't really know until you told me, was that Marvel Knights was mainly kind of to do a team setup to kind of promote each of the individuals' own solo runs.
right. But yeah, like at the very last issue of that Christopher Priest run, uh, like that was they were ending Black Panther at the time because anyone who's bought comics over a long period of time knows that basically the way Marvel does it is that they have, let's say they have X amount of slots for books for like ongoing issues. They'll they'll have the ones that are always there, the big sellers, Spider-Man, Avengers, X-Men, that kind of stuff, and then like basically they'll just cycle stuff in and out because there's like 8,000 Marvel characters, and
Yeah,
so they'll do like okay, for the next like year and a half we'll do this team with these characters, you know, and the way that they did it with the Black Panther was at that time the Black Panther run was ending. There wasn't going to be a Black Panther comic in the next rotation, and so they were like at the very last issue it showed like T'Challa and the White Tiger like jumping off a roof, you know, together, like ready to go kick some ass, and then it was like to see more of T'Challa, read Avengers, and it was like to see more White Tiger, read The Crew, which was a team book they had going for a while.
Okay, so basically just to kind of start promoting what was coming next, essentially.
Right, and like you see a lot of that stuff if you hang out in the comics for a while, which I like it because it stops characters with maybe like say a character doesn't have the fan base that they really deserve just because of lack of exposure. It prevents
Yeah,
those characters from like falling through the cracks, and I think it's pretty cool.
I can certainly understand. That's mainly what I saw from being an Iron Man fan is they would tie in War Machine and Iron Man back and forth a lot between each other, and there were some others, but
Right.
if it pretty much if it wasn't something tying into the War Machine run, it was something tying into Avengers. And I can understand, moving back and forth and trying to use team mashups to promote solo runs. I just kind of wish, the teams weren't sometimes as expendable as they are.
Speaking of the old Marvel Knights, issue 13, No Rest for the Wicked. Really good issue. Like I said, there's a lot of quick cuts in all of these. This one cuts a lot between like the LMD attack on Widow's apartment that we left off of in the last issue, and also
Yeah.
like Shang-Chi's father's Dequois, or like his ninja assassin type warriors attacking the Marvel Knights headquarters. That was kind of the scene when we left off last issue.
It's gone.
And Luke Cage was like, he's like, I ain't afraid to admit I got my ass whooped. And he's like, I need to go visit that whirlpool. And he goes and opens that door, and like all the ninjas come like pouring through. The resiliency
It's the
of this team,
decoys.
I do like the resiliency of this team, man. Like they just got whooped. They just like rolled into a club and got pretty thoroughly trashed by Tombstone and his goons, and then they go
Well,
back to headquarters and they're under attack.
I won't exactly say that they got completely trash. It was kind of an even blow.
Oh
You
yeah,
just
I
had
mean
the
yeah. As far as like
craziness of
as far as like their clout, yeah, like they definitely were kicking some substantial ass themselves, but Tombstone firing that rocket inside the bar pretty much sealed the deal. But I gotta say, kind of a side tangent on the Marvel Runaways. Uh, the comics, big fan. I like Runaways. I think it was a big hit. I hope it doesn't go anywhere. The show did a really good job of adapting that to television. It is more of like your family friendly tone of a Marvel show. It's not going to be like the grittiness of like the Punisher, the Daredevil, and stuff like that.
yeah.
Because it is a freeform broadcast television show. But it's pretty good, man. It's a essentially it amounts to Marvel's version of Stranger Things,
I
and
get you.
it's pretty cool. I like it. But I've always been a fan of that type of media. I've always liked Stranger Things. I've always liked Stephen King's It. Like kids on bikes fighting demons. Like I'm down. Let's make it
Yeah.
happen.
I was a big fan of it back in the day. I didn't really get into Stranger Things. Um, of course, at the time when Stranger Things was becoming big, I was going through the Marvel shows
hmm
on Netflix for the first time because if I'm not mistaken, they kind of came out together.
Uh,
Marvel's Runaways. I never I never actually gave that one a chance. I never actually gave it a look see because I think didn't that come out around the same time as the show about the kids with powers like Umbrella Academy or something like that?
yeah,
Okay. I might have actually gotten those confused, and maybe that was why I never really gave it a look see because they're kind of
possibly.
similar.
They are similar. Umbrella Academy is. I haven't watched it, but from the trailers and the clips and stuff that I've seen, it's pretty similar to those types of things. Well,
There was a lot of those kinds of shows coming out about that time.
oh yeah, yeah, and I'm not gonna dive off into a whole thing on Runaways, but basically, uh, there's a group of parents that do some really foul shit, and all their kids like find out about it, and they're like, we're not cool with that. You guys suck, and we don't want to be a part of it. And they basically run away, and
Yeah, that's why they're called the Runaways.
yeah, and
Of course, mom and dad send people to track him down, if I'm
yeah,
not mistaken.
and it ends up becoming like a full-on like little miniature war between this group of parents and their children. And man, it's pretty brutal. Like even like with the family friendly stuff, like it's just conceptually, it's like, dude, like these are your kids, like these are your parents. Yeah,
I was about to ask, when you say brutal, do you mean like a Teen Titans DC show brutal? Or not Teen Titans, but Titans?
uh, in the comics, it's a little more toward that. They do tone it down some for the show. Uh,
And they just mostly go with like the psychological, you know.
right. Well, I mean, there's still some pretty brutal stuff in the show, but it is toned down a bit. Uh, Part of it was, and I mean, I'm sure different people had different opinions on this, but so like in the comics, well, see, there's just one character. Her name's Nico, and in the comics, Nico's family has this like staff, like a magic staff, because their family is like witches,
Yeah.
and to use the staff, only a family member can use the staff, and the way that they do it is they have to cut themselves, and the blood activates the power of the staff, like the DNA. And
Okay.
in the comic books, the self mutilation required to use the staff is pretty
Pretty brutal,
gruesome.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas in
I
the
was about to say, does it
show,
like, whereas in the show it's kind of like just a cut?
it's like a finger prick. Like and then there's also they add in like a little extra layer of like psychological cost to using the staff. But I mean, I get that it's a family friendly show. They're not trying to like promote, like self mutilation and stuff. I mean, I get it.
No. No, you don't want to promote that, and I can understand that. I was
Right.
just gonna I was curious, in the comics, the more mutilation you cause, the more powerful the spell or something.
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Okay.
I'm not. I can't really confirm that fully because I haven't like read them all. I'm not like an expert or anything, but I'm pretty sure, yes.
Roping it back on around.
Right. It's just
Black
good
Widow on the
content.
Ellen. Oh, it is good content. It
So
is.
feel free to check it out if you're interested in some pretty cool stuff.
I even if it's not something that I haven't personally checked out, Marvel's not usually in the habit of making bad content.
Even when Marvel does do something bad, there's still something to it, like I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked several times about like the Spider-Man, the Clone Saga. It's a freaking dumpster fire, but it's like one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite things. Like
I think it's one of every Spider-Man's fans' favorite things.
yeah, it's very intriguing. It's a good bit. It's a good story arc, and but it is heavily flawed.
Oh yeah. But I think some of the best just from the debates that they create, I think some of the
Yeah,
more flawed
man.
storylines within Marvel are some of the better ones just because they create that sort of division unintentionally
Right.
that sparks decades long debates.
Yeah, and that's one thing cool about like that I like about that fandom and in that community, is that even when there are like really heavy debates, like it's still all in like good fun. Like it's
Oh
uh
yeah, like the Han who shot first, Han or Guido.
right. Oh man, The- I've seen
But now
people
they've
go
gone back and
nuts
done
over
all
that
the
one.
dude. Now they've gone back and they've edited the movies and all this other crap.
Right. But yeah, I've seen people get down and dirty over the Han Guido debate. It's like it's like, dude, are you okay?
No, no, this is not okay. This is not okay.
It's just like trying to line up a kill shot on an LMD.
all you need is Tyrone to pop some microwave. That's or
Uh,
some popcorn in the microwave. That's all
uh,
you need.
uh.
That's all you need. Just a hungry Tyrone.
I feel like that's a revelation about the LMDs. It's very heavily underplayed.
I know,
Like
right?
they could be destroyed by microwaving something in the same room, and
Hmm. Imagine if if you turned on a microwave on the helicarrier.
dude, yeah. Why didn't they take the mic? That I'm a, I mean, I'm,
Well,
I get it.
I
That it
think
was
when they showed like
destroyed.
Tyrone put the
Yeah.
food in there, yeah, it like fizzed out, just like exploded for no freaking reason.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, it was because it was like a can of beef stew, and the front door had been busted off in the previous issue. So I mean, I,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it wouldn't explode, but I definitely can see cause for malfunction. You're not supposed to put a tin can or aluminum can in a microwave.
I don't know, it's like putting silverware or bullets.
But yes, LMD Fury attacks Black Widow and Dagger in the apartment, as we saw last issue. And I thought it was cool. Like, he had like some kind of like minigun looking attachment, like on his arm.
He had he looked like a kind of looked like a Terminator 3, just had
Right.
weapons built into him, and it would just
Yeah.
like shift around with what he needed because he fired
Yeah.
missiles, he shot a gun, he had other stuff going on too.
Yeah. And then, like, in that fight, it reveals that its prime directive is to kill Black Widow.
The Black Widow.
And Dagger tries to use her daggers to take it out, but it doesn't do anything because LMDs don't have
He's
a
a
soul.
robot.
Yes, they're a robot. It's a machine. An automaton, a synth, a machination. Yeah, Black Widow, she ends up slowing down the LMD with her Widow's Bite, which they call her Sting in this run, I've noticed.
Yes.
But it's the Widow's Bite. That's what it is. Yeah, they end up retreating.
They take off in her car, don't they? Activate the flying mod and they
Yeah.
set off to go to the helicarrier.
Right.
About that time we get our first cutaway,
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
which goes right on.
Pretty much what goes down with that is like we had said. Tyrone throws a can of beef stew in the microwave, and sets it off. It explodes. He's got beef stew all over him. Dagger thinks he's dead. Like,
Widow has to calm her down. Whoa, no, he's actually fine. He's actually.
right. Dagger is such the fish out of water character for this team. I love it. Like,
I honestly don't see where she would be a fish in water.
right. You see somebody with beef stew on him. You're dead. It's like, no, I'm fine.
Don't
But-
don't spill any vegetable soup on yourself anytime soon.
Right. But yeah, they do that and destroys the LMD. They decide to take off in the car and go investigate. They're gonna go to the helicarrier and see what's going on. And
Tyrone hangs out. He stays behind.
yeah. But yeah, meanwhile, at the Marvel Knights headquarters, as we mentioned earlier, all the men of the team are recovering from their recent ass whooping / rocket sucker punch. And
Bullet.
yeah. Yeah, I like that who Luke Cage is
Got
talking
hit with
about.
an RPG and a bullet.
Yeah. I like that. I like Luke Cage is talking about his clothes. He's like, I gotta get these tailor made, man. Like, these ain't cheap.
And Daredevil pipes in. He's like, "Oh, just check in with Moon Knight about your clothing allowance."
Yeah. And Moon Knight's like, yeah, man. I told you, like, I'll buy your clothes. Like, it's not a problem. It's like, even though the clothes are paid for, like, he's still pretty upset about it. Like,
Oh, I know.
I'm sick of buying shirts.
Yeah, you gotta. Pretty much every time he gets in a fight, he gets to go home, but he's got to buy a whole new outfit.
Yeah, man.
It's expensive, man. It's kind of makes it hard to afford the rent.
Right. So yeah, and then Moon Knight's like, what we really need to be worried about is strategy. And Daredevil's like, oh, well, I got strategy. You want strategy? I'm
Oh,
Daredevil, man. Like I got, like just let me know what you want done, man. And I'll strategize. And then
kind
I
of taking
was,
some jabs at Moon Knight for just kind of bum rushing
yeah, dude, because that was the
the
whole
group in the
thing
bar.
last time. Because he was like, we need strategy, and they were just like, no, the hell with
Haven't you ever heard of a
strategy.
full court press?
Dude, I love that too, though. That's one of my favorite Luke Cage moments ever, man. Is when he just jumps off that roof, throws the car at the mob, jumps over it, lands, and he's like, "I'm here for Victor. Give him up. The rest of y'all go on." Like that was
He
awesome.
just goes. He's like, I'm kind of done talking.
Yeah, he's like, "I don't get
Hey,
paid
Sam
by the
Goon, what's
hour."
up? Oh, he gets paid by the job.
Yeah, I don't get paid by the hour. Let's get this done. Uh, but yeah, I like to like Shang-Chi like pops up, when they're talking, and he like just points it out. He's like, you guys are intentionally distracting yourselves. You're talking about things that are not urgent to avoid talking about the thing that we need to talk about.
Which is
And
his father.
yes, and also it is the fact that Dagger has like a crazy new power that she's not even really aware of.
Not in control of it either, just kind of
Yeah,
erupted out of her. Our boys, while discussing Luke Cage's clothing allowance, do get attacked by Shang-Chi's father's dacoits, which are like, I guess, ninjas.
yes. In my head, I've been referring to them as the assassins. But yeah, like I
The
said, Luke
assassins.
opens up the door. He's like, I need a whirlpool bath, a cold beer, and a long night's sleep. And then he
And
opens
then
the
there's the
door and just
dacoits.
gets mobbed.
And they just come barging through the door like a flood.
Sweet Christmas. Yes, as he busts through the window.
And this is his last chance, according to Shang-Chi's
Yeah,
father.
man, this is it. It's do or die, literally.
Do or die. He's got Mr. Lee and the other guy.
Sing.
Okay.
Or,
And issue one ends in the fight. While they're beating the crap out of all these decoys, a couple of them sneak downstairs and start to set up a bomb in the
hmm
basement.
Yeah, I gotta say I was a fan of their strategy here because they basically split up into three teams. There was the mob that attacked as the distraction, and then there was the bomb team setting up the bomb, and then Zeron like repelled down from the roof with his own little squad, and they like busted through the side window to like finish off like what the mob was doing. Like it was pretty well thought out.
It was a very well planned attack. I do have to give it to the weapon master. He
hmm
was serious about this one actually going down.
Yeah, and Moon Knight gets into a pretty uh, intense fight with Zeron. Uh, and they also like kind of
Pulls
had
out his
this
triple
thing,
nunchuck again.
yeah. And they had this thing too, like how they had almost crossed paths in the past, since they both had a history of being mercenaries. Yeah, so Moon Knight and Zeron are going at it, and
They get into their little spiel about being mercenaries.
yeah, and Zeron ends up like just chucking a big handful of like throwing knives at him, and several of them hit him. Like Moon Knight gets like air hold, and
Hmm
which
He
he's got
does. He
his
gets stuck with,
which he does have his armor on, some of it.
but
So,
still, yeah, he
but
gets stuck
yeah,
with like six kunai.
yeah, he gets stabbed several times across his like torso and upper leg area, and then Daredevil and Shang-Chi rush in, trying to help him, and they start kind of teaming up on Zeron and trying to save Moon Knight. And I like too how like they're fighting Zeron and gets to the point to where like they've pretty much beaten him, and Daredevil's like, "All right, we got him," and Shang Chi's like, "No, we didn't yet," and just starts just pounding him, man. And he's like, you could take
Oh, tearing
no,
into him.
yeah. But the thing is that Shang-Chi knows they're on the Weapon Master. He's like, you cannot let up on this guy. Mercy will get you killed against him.
Yeah,
Like
because
you
he'll
have
just
to,
wait for the moment to
yeah,
strike you in the back.
exactly. Like you have to make sure he is taken out. And I
Well,
gotta
the
say, dude, like his face looked like a freaking pound of hamburger
oh yeah,
after that beating.
he was a sack of bruised apples.
While that was
And that
going
actually,
on, Luke Cage was taking out like the rest of the assassins, like while they were fighting Zeron.
yeah,
Uh,
fighting a bunch of
and
just the random
then
peons.
Moon Knight ends up getting back up. He's like, hey, I'm fine. And I mean, because he goes, as long as nothing else happens, I'm fine. And then the base of the building explodes, and
Hmm.
that's the end of the issue.
And that leads into everything dies, which we were just talking about the Punisher and the necessariness of the war. And the next issue picks up with him in the sewers, committing to that, tearing through a bunch of drug dealers.
Oh yeah, got some. I believe it was heroin dealers. Uh, and he's basically doing his standard torture slash interrogation, trying to find them.
While filling them with bullet
Uh,
holes.
yeah, I like that scene too, man, because it really unveiled like the conviction of Frank Castle, because he killed that one, and then he's got the last guy there, and he's like, you gonna be like him, or you got some information for me? And that guy, he knows what's up. He's like, man, you're the Punisher. He's like, I talk, you kill me. I don't, you kill me. Like, I need a little insurance. And he's just like, I'm not in the insurance business. Boo! Just kills him.
Kills him.
I'll just start over. Like, dude. While he is taking out these drug dealers, he notices that he's being watched in the sewer.
Oh yeah.
And so
By sure, what was it?
it was Vermin.
A mutant?
Uh, I don't
Vermin
remember.
said he was a mutant though,
I
right?
don't. I'm trying to remember. I've seen Vermin around a lot. Vermin is a big Spidey character. Uh, I don't think he is a mutant, but I could be wrong. But I think there was some type of
Well, maybe not like a
accident.
mutant like an X-Men,
Right,
but
right. But I think he
still a
was.
mutant.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, he's like a rat guy. Uh, he's not a stockbroker. That's for sure. Uh,
Hey, he could be. You never know. He might get around.
I think he was in some kind of accident. If I remember correctly, which the details are probably going to be off some, but I feel like he was in like some type of mental institution. Like he suffered from like a lot of mental illnesses, and
He
he
seems
was,
kind of off when he talks, so I can see
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like he either was experimented on or he was in some kind of accident. Something happened that turned him into Vermin.
Then
And
he's like you said, the rat person.
yeah, and like he started out like just kind of living in the sewers and like killing homeless people and dragging them into the sewers and eating them, and then like that's how he got on Spider-Man's radar, and Spider-Man's like helped him out over the years to kind of like regain his little bits of his sanity so that he's not like doing that kind of stuff anymore.
Kind of like Lizard.
Right.
Good old Kurt Connors.
Oh yeah. Uh, but yeah, Frank runs into Vermin, and basically he's like, "Are you gonna kill me?" And he's like, "I'm thinking about it."
We get our first cutaway of number 14, and we go back to the Marvel Knights
Like the building starts crumbling, and
because the bomb.
yeah, and Mr. Lou, was it Lou?
Yes.
Lou
The
and
guy with the glasses and the cane, the
yes,
magician-looking guy.
and Singh. There's the note. It's Singh. Mr. Lou
Sing.
and Singh. They are killed in the explosion.
Yes.
Shang-Chi's father believes that all the Marvel Knights and all of his own forces have all
Are
been
dead.
slain. And
And that gives him some
Yeah.
confidence that Shang-Chi is dead.
Yes. And so, but the team is actually still in the tower. Mid explosion, it's crumbling. Moon Knight tells the rest of the team that the tower is built on a central spire that is designed to collapse in on itself in the event of an earthquake. And the tower could just literally collapse into dust at any moment. So they head to the hangar to escape in the Crescent, uh, pretty much leaving all of the unconscious assassins to die, which I thought was an interesting moment because they mentioned it. That's like, well, what about all these guys? And Luke Cage goes, well, I didn't invite them. He's like, I'm leaving.
I'm getting the heck out of here. This is just
Yeah,
no good. I'm not gonna get paid.
right. Uh, so they board the Crescent, but the roof hatch that opens up to let it out is jammed. At this point, Zeron, the weapons master, crawls out from under this concrete slab. He's still alive. Uh,
Still beat to a pulp.
yeah. And so Luke just picks up like a steel girder that's just like falling out of the wall somewhere and just chucks it through like the side window, just making a big hole for them to fly out of.
And Moon Knight, I think, doesn't he pass out at the controls
Yes, he passes out
from
at
blood
the
loss?
controls of the Crescent. And Daredevil takes over flying, which is funny to me.
I know, right? Daredevil, of all people, like you would think with the echolocation of his heightened senses, he
Yeah, like
wouldn't
how
exactly be able to see that far ahead in the sky.
talk about plot armor. I gotta say, I like Daredevil. I'm a big Daredevil fan. Daredevil's one of my favorite characters ever. But there's no reason that he should be able to fly any type of aircraft. I just don't. I don't get that.
I I'm right there with you. I don't fully understand it either.
I mean, like you take a pipe and bang it on like some bars, and the guy goes into sensory overload, but you can handle like the thrust and like all the noises and the inner workings of like this complicated aircraft. Like, I mean, I'm cool with it. It's whatever, but
Well,
I,
I mean,
I see you.
I guess his echolocation catches like the tops of the buildings, and that's kind of how he knows.
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess I could see him flying it well enough to keep it up in the air until he like figured something out. But I don't see him like
Yeah.
taking it in for a landing.
No, no, I'm sure he like figured out how to turn the autopilot on. Then the autopilot took over. He just kind of was like, all right, I figured that out. I kept her in the air.
Right.
Kind of move along.
Uh, and then it kind of like cuts forward, and Luke Cage and Shang Chi are visiting Moon Knight in the hospital.
And Moon Knight's girlfriend is there. Uh, he's with his girlfriend, right? And his girlfriend's basically making him quit the team.
I remember that Shang Chi had asked Luke Cage. He was like, "Well, now that your benefactor is no longer part of the team, are you going to be leaving us as well?" And Luke Cage says, "No, I think I'll just do this one pro bono. Like I'm already here. Like let's. I'll stick around for a while."
You see
Right.
Daredevil diving towns towards Vermin as he's swinging through the city.
Yeah. But yeah, we don't. Nothing really happens there. It just kind of shows that he's telling him, and then that's when they do
Yeah.
the cutaway to get Black Widow and Dagger storm onto the bridge of the Shield helicarrier. Black Widow tells Fury that an LMD attack on her life has uncovered a conspiracy aimed at Shield. She explains
And
to
then,
them that Dagger is able to detect human souls and therefore detect LMDs. She's like, Natasha. Uh, she's like, Dagger, for example, how many LMDs are aboard this vessel at the moment? And Dagger's like, well,
they're all
all
LMDs.
of them. They're all LMDs. And then that's the
And
end
yep, that's
of
the end of the number 14.
issue 14. And then it picks up in The Unreal World, issue 15. And they just picks up on the same scene. They're still on board the helicarrier. They're surrounded by LMDs. They all got weapons drawn. The entire Shield staff has been replaced. Uh,
Somehow, some way.
yes. I like to Black Widow gives Dagger some guns. And they just like start fighting their way out. Dagger like hates the guns. She's like got her eyes closed and just starts firing them blind like ah, and she's like headshotting them.
Bah, 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 bah.
My favorite part of this one too is like when they're running away to go to like try to find like the mainframe or whatever. She goes, "Ooh, guns," and throws the guns.
Just like the full on girly.
Right.
Ew.
But they just kind of take off running through like the innards of the helicarrier. Then it cuts back again to Luke Cage and Shang-Chi. They're eating dinner at this little barbecue place, uh, trying to like discuss what they're gonna do next. They really seem to be the only two interested in keeping the team going. Uh, and then Shang-Chi just kind of decides. He tells Luke, he's like, "I gotta leave the city. You know, like this isn't the team's not going. I've got to go handle my father, and I need to leave the city to do it. He believes I am dead. This is the perfect opportunity for me to, end this once and for all." Right after that barbecue scene, it goes right into Punisher on a rooftop. He's approached by Vermin. Vermin tells him that he's found Daredevil. Punisher follows him, threatening to kill him if this doesn't pan out. He's like, "No, I saw him. He's this way." And so
He's
they
coming.
take
I
off.
know he is.
And then it boom cuts away again, back aboard the helicarrier. Black Widow and Dagger fighting their way through the helicarrier. Widow like throws some LMDs through a window, which causes the helicarrier to like depressurize or something, which throws several more LMDs overboard out through the window. Her and Dagger are like holding on to some kind of rail. Uh, then they head to the central mainframe to see if they can find out if the agents that have been replaced have been killed. And Widow discovers that Fury, Carter, Sitwell, and several others are away on assignment. And so she wonders why she was attempted to be killed instead of just being sent away. And that's when like this AI called Selene reveals itself on the screen. Selene is an acronym. It's Computer Elimination Location Intelligence Negation Engine, which I gotta say is probably the worst acronym in Marvel history. That's like
And
right up,
they've got some doozies
yeah,
too.
that's right up there with like Hulk and the Agents of Smash. Like,
I know, right?
just listen to that acronym. It doesn't even make sense. Computer Elimination Location Intelligence Negation Engine.
Yeah, pretty much something that's it. It kind of does, but kind of doesn't sound like it. But essentially, what that is it's a big think tank engine that's designed to locate threats to Shield, and then have them eliminated, essentially.
Right. And I mean, I dig it kind of, but I don't know. I was like, dude, that's a doozy.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
It's a rough one. That's a
Oh
pretty
yes.
rough acronym. She tells her, like you're ex KGB. She's ex Russian intelligence, and she's a high-ranking officer and like a former enemy of Shield.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can never
So
be fully
trusted ever.
Selene sends like this swarm of LMDs in. They're wearing like insulated suits that render the Widow about useless.
Mm-hmm.
And so Widow
I think they
starts.
protect against microwaves too.
Probably. They should if they don't. And Widow just starts fighting them hand to hand. And an LMD fires at Widow. She's able to stay cautious long enough to erase Selene
shot hits the
completely.
console.
Yep. Which
And
shuts
so
down all
then
the
Widow
LMDs.
like realizes like, oh
at the same
shit,
time.
like we're
Yeah.
kind of at a Mexican
And also,
standoff here,
once
so she calls it
everything
bluff,
is
they're in,
settled,
like the nerve
they
center of
realize
this
it like shuts
helicarrier,
down this
and she says,
holographic
"You're
or
pretty much holding a
hologram
gun to your own
projection.
to
To realize that they're not even on it. It wasn't even a shield plot
to begin
but
with.
I could dodge. You could shoot
Nope.
yourself.
But it doesn't
damage your
even give any
hardware.
kind of indication as to who does it, though. this kind of spoiled like
And then
the
so
whole
they're doing
run
that, she
for me.
like
Kind of
Morcash says
not
she's
spoiled it
first like
as so
hacking
much
into
as
the
ruined it,
mainframe
but kind of just
with all these command
ruined
codes.
the
She's
entire
gonna
run
wipe
for me to a
Celine's
certain
file,
extent.
and
And that's when it
to
cuts
try to stop her,
away
Celine
from them.
vents like
Mhm.
exhaust into the
Black Widow
room.
calls in the real Shield to clean up. There's a cutaway.
Vermin leads Punisher to Daredevil, and like he goes into
Yes.
this building, and thinking that he's gonna surprise Daredevil, but Daredevil's there waiting on him, and like sucker punches him.
You know, they kind of bopped each other on the face a couple
Right.
of times, and that was for the most part it.
Yeah, and then Punisher like just pulls out a gun and puts it to his own head, and he's like, "If you don't leave me alone, I'll kill myself."
Because he played off of the choir boy.
Yep. He was like, "I'm not
And that
gonna
was actually
let
kind of an
you."
ingenious move.
Yeah, man, because he's like, "I'm not gonna let you kill yourself." He's like, "You can't stop me." And he's like, "You think I'm bluffing?" You know. And then like Daredevil kind of like listens to his heart, and he's like, "Nah, man, he's not bluffing. Like he'll kill himself."
Hmm I mean, it's the Punisher.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, I would also assume, you know, Mr. Frank Castiglione can, you know, control his heart rate. After that, you know, it's the Marvel Knights are broken up. You know, that little rivalry's kind of done. You know, for the time being, and you know, Punisher defeated Daredevil, and probably like the worst way for Daredevil to be defeated. You know, to have his humanity used against him.
There was also like a couple of like little mini cutaways, like those, like after the whole Shang-Chi said he's gonna leave the city, they had one where him and Luke Cage are like walking down the street, and Luke tries to offer his help. Like he's like, "I can go with you. You know, I can help you take down your
Yeah,
father."
he's wanting another buddy like Iron Fist.
Right. And Shang-Chi turns him down, and he's like, "No, I gotta do this on my own." And he kind of just walks off into the city, disappears into the crowd. So we don't really know what happens after that.
You'd have to tune into the Shang-Chi solo run at the time.
Right. And then Daredevil and Black Widow kind of meet up and talk about it. You know, like, I guess the team is done. Daredevil's like, "Yeah, it's better this way, you know. Like, no one's going to get hurt." That kind of stuff. And Black Widow is shown to feel pretty disappointed in the fact that they're not going to be continuing with the Marvel Knights team.